here to talk about Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. And yeah, this is the fifth, but latest and also latest film in the monster verse that started 10 years ago. I've been a fan of it probably since 2017 when this film came out, but I'm definitely still a passionate fan, and we've definitely dipped into the sort of more sillier side of Godzilla, as Godzilla tends to do. Godzilla movies start pretty serious, like their series starts pretty serious, and then we slowly get into the goofy. We're in full blown goofy now. What is the plot of this film? Well, Kong is now sort of roaming the Hollow Earth looking for more of his kind, more giant apes, and he is looking around there until he discovers, oh wait, there's an area under the ground on where he was originally on where he's been living. There's a area under that, and that is where he finds apes. And now he, along with Godzilla, has to stop this evil Red King called the Scar King. He has to stop this evil giant ape from taking over not only the Hollow Earth, but also taking over the actual Earth, where we the humans live. And there's some crazy monster action and a lot of monster destruction to go about. I say some monster action because I will say an issue that I do have with this film, just straight out the gate, is that it's not as action packed as this one. I think this is my favorite of this MonsterVerse. I love Godzilla versus Kong. Three fights with Kong, along with some other three fights between Godzilla and Kong, along with some other fights here along the way with other creatures. It genuinely understood the assignment. It was an hour and 53 minutes of just pure awesomeness. You had a little bit of character, a little bit of human stuff to go around, but it was mainly just, you're here for the monster action, we know that. And this movie, I think, gets a little bogged down by lore dumps and by just having too many humans somehow. And this movie, I think, has less humans than the previous one, but I feel like we spend a little too much time with Rebecca and with Gia, the little girl the little deaf girl that Kong has a relationship with. We spend a little too much time with Rebecca Hall's character and with Gia, and with Brian Tyree Henry's character, and there's a new Dan Stevens character in this film. And while they're all very much ape scientists, is there a word for? I've never thought about it before, but is there geology? Is there a word for ape studies? I've never thought about it before. But we have the ape scientist, the ape biologist. We have Brian Tyree Henry still doing his thing with being the goofy comic relief. Oh, I'm a conspiracy theorist type of guy. You have Gia, who is our link to Kong, and now Dan Stevens plays a Titan veterinarian of sorts. And it just feels like, even though these characters are all one note, we're spending too much time with them. There wasn't as much action in this film as there was in the previous movie. So I think that's my biggest complaint about this new movie, is that there's too much action. But my best thing, the thing I love about this film, is how much Kong stuff we got. I'm obviously Team Kong. I thought about it too early. I thought about it a week before I went to go see this new movie. But I thought, damn it, I should have gotten a Godzilla shirt made. Now, I'm always going to be Team Kong, but, just to have that in my repertoire, my shirt repertoire, I should have gotten, a Godzilla shirt. Darn it. But that being said, I still enjoyed this movie. I still wore this shirt proudly, Team Kong. And this movie, I think, does a really good job at having a real character piece, or a real just character arc. Maybe not character piece, but a character arc for Kong. And by the end of the film, it's like, we don't need the humans anymore. You could honestly, because mocap is so great, and I'm assuming that they're doing mocap for Kong, because Kong is so great within his facial animations, within his body language, just within the fact that I feel like he's as much of a real character as we probably have ever had in this MonsterVerse. No offense to the Russells, but like, and Bryan Cranston's character from the first movie, but like, it honestly feels like Kong is one of the more well-rounded of the characters that we've had in this universe. That the next one could just be Kong goes around, and the only humans we see are for the Godzilla side of the story. Honestly, I think. And I think that's really cool and really exciting, especially because the Planet of the Apes films from the last decade have been really awesome and character driven. Although Planet of the Apes was much more character driven than these Kong movies. If you're ever wondering what I'm looking, yeah, I'm at work. If you're ever wondering what I'm looking at, it's just like general, like math, boring business number stuff. If you ever wonder. But yeah, I do. I don't know if I've said this before, but this is like my office at work. I'm in the middle of like payroll and financial jargon, but I do genuinely love this. I do genuinely love the Kong character. I think they did a good job at making him a character in this film, and even this film, X Kong versus Kong, and even Kong Skull Island to some extent, he feels very much like the real character. And that's my best thing, is that it's like really cool that we're getting some Samurai Jack level storytelling with Kong. And I like how he's showing himself to be the king, because John C. Reilly says in a throwaway, and not really a throwaway line, but in just a thrown out there line, that he's king around here, but he's not called King Kong. He's just called Kong. And I think now the next one could easily just be called Godzilla X King Kong, whatever. And I think that would be a natural progression of his character arc, as small as that may be within this universe, within these films. His character arc ends with him becoming King Kong, and I like that about these movies, because I'm King Kong, and I love that he's now king of something. And yeah, in the Scar King, I think was a pretty threatening villain, somewhat. He isn't really super interesting or anything. He's not like, it's not like, oh, it's so cool that they brought back King Ghidorah and stuff like that, and oh, it's super cool that King Ghidorah is now, his mind is now in Mechagodzilla. That's like, there isn't like a really cool, like, I'm a Godzilla fan and a King Kong fan, like I can geek out about the Scar King. Not really, but I think they did a good job with the Scar King. They made him imposing enough, to say the least. I wouldn't say he's an interesting villain, but they made him imposing enough that I don't mind that he is as sort of one note as he is. Let's talk about Godzilla. So Godzilla, this is in the trailers, but I'm gonna later put in the title of this video minor spoilers. But in the Godzilla storyline, there are some like humans tracking him, because we know that they can do that through the other films. Like, oh, we're tracking Godzilla right now. And Godzilla's main thing in this film is he's going around and getting more nuclear energy to become his pink, to go into his pink era and get more power to defeat the Scar King. And I will say that was rather an interesting concept. Like, and they sort of established this in Godzilla King of the Monsters, that if he absorbs more radiation, he can basically get more superpower, So like, that was kind of cool that they did that. But like, also, that being said, I feel that I feel like, yeah, his storyline once again is just kind of there. It's obvious that at least for these first two movies, because apparently I saw in an article a few days ago that like they want to maybe make the next one. Uh, they want to make the next one more Godzilla centric, which makes sense. Godzilla started this universe. It makes sense that you want to go back to maybe do Godzilla one last time because Adam Wingard wants to make a third one, which natural. I would rather them maybe split off and do like another King Kong, do another Kong movie, call it King Kong, and then have another Godzilla movie happen, and then make the big final like the big finale of this series be another King Kong or Godzilla versus King Kong movie. But I'm okay if it's just another Godzilla X Kong film next. But yeah, the next one should be maybe more Godzilla centric. But Godzilla, I think it's interesting. Like I said, minor spoilers. He's going around, like killing other monsters now, and I thought that was interesting because like in this film they make a key point on pointing out that like like in the credits like in this movie Godzilla like for some reason killed all the other Titans out there. So now the only other one left is Kong, and that was like why they were worried about them meeting up together is because they have an ancient rivalry. They're ancient enemies, and Godzilla already killed the other Titans. But I guess since that was just in the opening title sequence and you have to read that, I guess they decided that and plus this movie also kind of establishes that more Titans show up like every day. Like, granted, in this film they showed up dormant, but in that movie they kind of set up that Titans are showing up like every day. I know I'm paying too close attention to this universe, but I don't know. I rewatched all of these in preparation for this film. I'm a good little nerd. I rewatched all the films, and actually I did them like day for day since there's only 4. I did them day for day. But yeah, like I don't know. Like I think it's just it's just something interesting. Granted, it's not like Godzilla's always had a strong continuity, but it's just sort of interesting that they chose to like retcon these monsters were all killed. Well, actually now they're not being all killed. There's more of them out there, so that's interesting. But yeah, I ultimately enjoyed this movie. It's probably this is probably number 1, honestly, and then this one is number 2. So Godzilla vs. Kong is number 1 in my ranking of these films, and then Kong Skull Island is number 2. Number 3 is Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then I'll say X Kong is probably number 4, and then this one's number 5 though. The original Godzilla. It's not. I don't think it's. I think it is a little too not there are a little too many monsters, or there's not enough monsters in this film, which is why I think it should go on the bottom, or why I'm not surprised it's on the bottom of probably everyone's ranking of this series. But it's fine enough, and I think it's not Gareth Edwards' best movie, but it's fine enough. But yeah, it's definitely, I think, going to be at the bottom of a lot of people's lists. And Bryan Cranston, they really did a bait and switch with Bryan Cranston where he dies 40 minutes in. But yeah, there is going to be a spoiler section in this review. So click away now if you do not want to hear spoilers. If you haven't seen this film yet, click away now. But here we go. Spoilers. So there's only, once again, kind of like with the last film, there's only one really big thing to spoil with this film, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The return of Mothra. And my mom actually, because I watched this with my parents, I took them to the theater with me. I saw my mom when Mothra showed up, because Mothra is, she's a lot more insect looking than she was in the original goofy ass like Toho movies where she's just like kind of a ball, like 4 balls like connected to each other with wings and like fur. She's she looks more like an insect. In King of the Monsters, they like have her have like a stinger, like a bee or a wasp, and they have her with shoot like webs and stuff like that. So she's a bit more like, and she has like praying mantis claws. So this universe's Mothra is a bit more souped up than regular Mothra is. But like, I mean, I'm an arachnophobe, but like I wasn't creeped out by the mouth. I've always thought the Mothra design that they had in this movie was like actually really cool. But yeah, it was really cool to have a surprise like that because like, yeah, Godzilla versus Kong had like a surprise of now King Ghidorah has taken like Mechagodzilla, that's cool, but no, also King Ghidorah, because he's like a weird alien with weird alien powers. He now has King Ghidorah is now taken over the body of Mechagodzilla. So like, that's really cool. That's really that's like some nerdy ass crap, And it's cool. But like this movie, I think did a really good job at being like, now we have the now it's like, this is super cool. Mothra's returned. And like, that was pretty cool. There's even a shot like in the trailer that was like altered to like not have Mothra in it. Like they wanted Mothra to be a surprise. And like, yeah, like Mothra is like cool in this movie. She's more bioluminescent. I think this movie went a little too hard with bioluminescence in retrospect. It's cool. It's cool looking. But yeah, bioluminescence I guess isn't for everybody. But like it was really cool to like have the Mothra return. There's also now an ice themed like monster that the Scar King rides. I forget what they're called, but it's like, but when that snowy Godzilla showed up, I was like, it's Godzilla's sister, or it's Godzilla's sister from another mister. My mom cracked up a little bit. And she couldn't laugh too loud because we're in the theater, but she cracked up a little bit to that. But yeah, like this, and that was cool to see. And they do sort of set that up a little bit in the trailer because like Godzilla or Kong is shown like with his axe blasting or deflecting some sort of ice or white blast. I think we all just assumed that it was something else, but that turned out to be from a icy Godzilla. And yeah, like it makes sense that like, this villain is a primate, like Kong's a primate. Like Godzilla could just tear the Scar King to pieces. Because yeah, like in a fight with Godzilla and Kong, Godzilla would win because Godzilla is literally a reptile. I'm always Team Kong. I love Team Kong. But like in this movie, round 2 goes to Kong on like a technicality because Kong literally has to have an axe to defeat Godzilla. And I don't know, I like that. I like that there were 2 surprise, because I feel like not a problem with this movie's marketing, but like something kind of interesting about this movie's marketing is that they literally showed this movie has 4 monsters, 4 titans. And the marketing showed them all. You had Mothra in the trailers, you had Rodan in the trailers, you had King Ghidorah, and obviously Godzilla. And even the back of the box mentions Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah as they all vie for supremacy. That's literally the last line of the back of this box. So it's sort of nice in a like five years later. Oh my gosh, it's sort of nice that like 5 years later, in the very same universe, we had some monster surprises and stuff like that. But that is it for the review. I think I said everything. Like I said, I like this movie. It's just that I think it has some pacing problems. I think the next movie could easily just have Kong as the main character, maybe some humans with Godzilla, but like the next movie, like this movie easily could have been trimmed down to like 90 minutes long, and like all the like Scar King backstory could have easily just been put into a like an opening crawl or something like that. Or like an opening like narrated text. I don't know by who, but that could have been something that they do. But yeah, there you go. So I have a channel announcement for you. So at the beginning of the year, I said that I was going to be doing, and I probably should make this a separate video, but I don't know. I'm going to do it this way. So at the beginning of this year, I said that I was going to do one video a week. I think that's what I could do, especially once my ice cream business started happening in March. I was going to do one review a week. And you know what? I think I've done that. And obviously, inspiration has come to me where I'm like, oh, I got to talk about that. So like, but I think generally speaking, when March started, I've done a pretty good job at doing one video a week. Well, now, unless something changes, and I will update you. But now, I think early in the week, I'm going to do still that one review. I have a review planned for the next few days. I'm going to review it, and it'll either be uploaded on Tuesday or Wednesday. And that's going to be like the schedule. It's going to be like a Tuesday or Wednesday thing. I'll watch something and then review for you. And I already have those planned out. But on Sundays at Sundays 4 p.m. Central Time, I would love to do live streams like this where I just review something a bit more extensively and all that kind of fun stuff. And I think doing that consistently will help maybe build an audience. I think something that's maybe caused me to get to 50 subscribers like 4 years after my channel, I started my channel, I think is maybe just because, you know, I'm not like upload wise, I'm not the most consistent guy, but I think that I think what's feasible for me is a review, an uploaded video review at the beginning of the week, and then at this time on Sunday afternoons at 4 p.m. Central, when I'm just here doing payroll and stuff like that, I think that could be a perfect time for me to do a live stream and stuff like that, because it's just going to be like a few minute break of me doing this. So I think that's going to be perfect. I think that's going to be the schedule. So like Tuesday, Wednesday, a review, and then Sunday at 4 p.m. Central is going to be a live stream. So I think that's going to be the schedule now. I will of course update you. I'll update you, you know, on my community page if anything changes, but that's going to be the schedule. That's locked in. That's going to be the schedule. So, that's it for now. Like the day before Easter, I actually got this really cool Batman Arkham Asylum pop. And someday I'm going to have to show you guys all my pops, because I do have a wee bit of... I have like 13-ish maybe pops, so I'm gonna have to show you guys them all someday. But remember that God made you special. He loves you very much. I hope you had a very lovely week. I hope you will have a very lovely following week. Make sure that you have a lovely week nonetheless. And as always, God bless you all.